Feeling curious? Welcome to Click, I'm Spencer Kelly, and welcome to Pasadena in California. This is the home of some truly cutting-edge research because that is NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL. And for the people who work there, every day in the office is rocket science.
This week's Click will be out of this world, I promise you. We're at NASA's Jet Propulsion Labs to meet the robots doing the deep inspection and heavy lifting across alien worlds. And if you'd like to drive one of these beasts, you may already have done the training. We'll get hands-on with the video games controllers that could let us get hands-on with space bots in the future. And if the world is not enough, you can build your own universe. All you need is this week's Webscape. It's World Space Week this week, so what better time to visit the birthplace of Explorer 1, the first American satellite successfully launched into space. Established in 1957, JPL is the home of research and construction of NASA's robotic spacecraft. And the teams here are also planning for future manned expeditions to the stars, working on technologies that will feed into the Orion mission, which will send astronauts to deep space around the year 2020. And for 2 days only, we were given rare access to this amazing space.
This is a life-size replica of Voyager 1, which recently became the first human-made object to enter interstellar space. And it really is a reminder of how much more you can do in space when humans aren't in the mix, it being rather dangerous and all. And while the two Voyagers hurtle ever further away from us, the new generation of robots are helping us get to know our closest neighbours just that bit better. After nearly 9 months' journey and 350 million miles, a most audacious landing. Completely automated, with no human backup. This is what NASA called its 7 minutes of terror. Curiosity has landed. Its mission to continue NASA's exploration of the Red Planet, analyse its rocks, look for water, and prepare for human exploration. And this is what it looks like up close. This is Curiosity's Earthbound twin. It's identical to the Curiosity that's on Mars, apart from it doesn't have the superpowers, doesn't have the nuclear power source, and it doesn't have the laser, but everything else is pretty much the same. And it is just amazing to think that something just like this is currently crawling across the surface of Mars. The reason it's here in JPL's Mars yard is to make sure that whatever Curiosity encounters, the team can recreate the situation here and work out how to deal with it before trying it for real on Mars. Today, new Curiosity pilots are being trained in controlling its 2-metre-long, 5-jointed robotic arm. On the end, a selection of tools, including an alpha particle X-ray spectrometer, a lens imager, a sample processing unit, and a brush. You always need a brush. And driving the rover is itself an experience.
It's more like playing a video game, to be honest. The rover takes stereoscopic images, and when we're driving, for example, the first thing we do is we put on 3D glasses. So we look at what the rover sees, and based on what we have in front of us, we create the actual commanding that Curiosity uses to perform the functions we want her to do.
It's a slow journey though, so racing gamers need not apply. The time it takes for radio signals to reach Mars makes real-time manual steering impossible. Controllers enter a whole day's worth of commands in one go, after which Curiosity executes them at a breakneck speed of 30 meters per hour.
Sometimes the team here will use this for training and practice. For example, they'll stick Curiosity somewhere and then they'll lock their drivers in a darkened room and expect them to work out where they are and then navigate to a particular point. For example, that rock has been used for many drilling practices. I can see that from all the holes. And of course, that won't always be on a flat surface. That's a 20-degree slope. And over here is a 30-degree slope. And to give you an idea of how hard that is, I weigh 70 kilos, Curiosity weighs 900 kilos. Ah!
But even covering just an average of 200 meters per day, and with the ability to keep the body level as it goes up and down slopes, there are still dangers.
Nightmare is we actually get it stuck somewhere. Having it drive into a sand pit and having it get stuck. We're very sensitive to that.
On September the 11th this year, Curiosity arrived at the base of Mount Sharp and prepared to start climbing the mountain. But its mission has already been hailed a success. In March 2013, after drilling into its very first rock, it found evidence that the water that once existed on Mars might have been potable. In other words, there were good conditions for life to have formed.
It's amazing to know that there's something out there that could potentially harbor life. And so the conditions were ripe for that.
Curiosity is the latest and largest of NASA's robots to explore the red planet so far. But it is nothing compared to what's in the garage down the road. This is Athlete.
So Athlete is the all-terrain, hex-limbed extraterrestrial explorer. The idea is that this is a cargo hauling robot that won't get stuck on the lunar surface, which basically means we want to go off-roading, off-planet.
It's a prototype, but could one day be hauling everything from drilling equipment to homes across alien terrain.
This is the prototype Athlete, or to be more accurate, half the prototype, because the other three legs would go over here, and in between those two halves goes this, the cargo pad. This is where you put the stuff that you want to lift up and move about.
Curiosity seems a bit fragile in comparison. Athlete is designed for heavy-duty work, watching out for obstacles from every angle. This thing will follow its daily instructions and can autonomously make its own decisions to avoid things that get in the way. And the coolest thing of all is the way it gets itself out of trouble.
So Athlete has small wheels on the end of 6 fully articulated robotic limbs, and that means we can roll across easy terrain, and if we get stuck, we can just walk out of it or walk over it.
And those wheels wouldn't be fitted with inflatable tyres. No, they would be space wheels. Light, rugged, and of course not liable to puncture or burst in low-pressure environments. And although this version weighs 2 tons, the Athlete design is scalable. It can be built a lot smaller, or it could be twice as big. Imagine that crawling across the lunar surface towards you.
I know it's happening quite slow, but still quite weird and a bit intimidating.
For now, Athlete is still earthbound, but it is a reminder of just how much heavy lifting robots have already done across the solar system.
Sticking with our space theme, although less scientific and more science fiction, this week marks the return of the Alien franchise to video games. Mark Chislak donned his flight suit to face off against the extraterrestrial menace.
In space, no one can hear you scream. It's a shame the same can't be said about playing particular video games in your living room. First-person survival horror game Alien Isolation is an exercise in nerve-shredding fear. The player adopts the role of Amanda Ripley, the daughter of the original movie's heroine, trapped on a creaky space station.
She was trying to hack the elevator's security. Circuits are fried, easy fix.
Whose owners must have forgotten to pay the electricity bill, as most of the station's environs are lit so dimly you'll need a torch to illuminate the next terrifying close encounter.
Gotta keep moving.
The player is under-equipped with pretty useless weapons, which they'll need to modify and cobble together to create tools for distraction and survival.
Hey, don't move.
Before facing off against scavenging humans, creepy bargain basement androids, and of course, the near indestructible xenomorph itself. The first time you see the alien properly in the game, you're frozen to the spot with fear, but you're also admiring it as it elegantly uncoils itself from an overhead service hatch. And then it kills you. You don't have the correct weapons to kill the alien, so instead of taking pot shots at it, which never ends well, it's safer to run and conceal yourself. As a first-person game, this is less gung-ho and more go and hide. The art and production design of this title demand particular praise. This is the future as imagined in the late 1970s, channeling the visual style and stylings of Ridley Scott's Alien movie. Story snippets are delivered by listening to tape recordings found scattered around the station.
Julia Jones, today's update.
And every part of the game world, from the chunky green screen computers to the future retro adverts on the station's walls, helps reinforce the game's overall aesthetic. It's not just the visuals that are retro though. Some of the gameplay is straight out of the 20th century. A good example is the save points. No auto-saving here. The player is constantly saving their progress in between encounters. The reason for the constant saving is that most of the missions are punishingly difficult, a lot of them requiring a fair bit of trial and error in order to complete them. Apart from the main story mode, Isolation features a survivor mode, basically get from point to point before the alien can catch you. And some familiar faces make an appearance in the form of the crew of the original movie, who return to lend their voices to a bonus DLC mission set on the doomed shipping vessel, the Nostromo.
The film itself, as Ridley created it, is pretty complete. So in a sense, this new project is inspired very much by all of those fantastic details and his camera work, which really put the audience in that environment anyway. What intrigued me about this was it's very much inspired by the original story, but takes it in a brand new direction.
Despite some old-school pacing problems, Alien Isolation is a superior slice of survival horror science fiction.
I love how you can just walk around here and see liquid nitrogen just bubbling away. Anyway, we'll have more on JPL's robot program a little bit later, specifically how you control them over the vastness of space. But next is a look at this week's tech news.
Microsoft has revealed its latest operating system, Windows 10, skipping Windows 9 completely. The much-loved and missed Start button is back, which now looks more sophisticated than its old self, sporting a tiled interface. Microsoft is also hoping its business clients will be back, as some were reluctant to upgrade to Windows 8. The new OS should snugly fit many devices thanks to its dynamically resizing windows. Another sign of how modern protest movements are embracing technology. Pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong are using the app FireChat to spread their message. The app, popular with festival goers, allows conversations within a 70-meter radius without using mobile data. In Hong Kong, 100,000 people downloaded FireChat in 24 hours, with live discussions on the app including up to 10,000 people simultaneously. FireChat are reportedly working on an encrypted version, as all messages are currently public. House of Cards was the first TV show to skip mainstream channels to premiere online on Netflix. Now the streaming giant has its eyes set on the big screen, announcing it will start producing full-length feature films to premiere only on its network. 4 movies starring Adam Sandler and Ang Lee's sequel to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon will all give a miss to conventional movie theaters and debut online. Some evidence that Hollywood may be running out of original ideas. Tetris, yes, the classic game about falling blocks, is due to make the leap to the big screen. There's no news about plot or casting just yet, but the film will apparently be an epic sci-fi story made by the same team who brought us the film version of another gaming favourite, Mortal Kombat. So yeah, that's us filled with confidence then.
This is the Spaceflight Operations Facility, and this is where they process all the signals that are being received from the various NASA missions that are up in space. For example, the yellow text over there, that is the data that's being received from the Curiosity Rover on Mars. Now, I don't know about you, but it came as a surprise to me to learn that the way they control these robots and spacecraft is generally by typing lines of code. But that is starting to change, and here at JPL they're working on new ways of interfacing with their robots. Mark Chislak has been taking a look.
If I want to actually go to space in a few years' time, if I win the lottery, outfits like Virgin Galactic might be able to make that possible. But if I want to set foot on extraterrestrial soil, ground, or whatever, that's probably never going to happen. But the engineers at the Ops Lab have got the next best thing. By combining real data and images taken by the Curiosity Mars rover with the Oculus Rift virtual reality headset, the team at JPL can virtually transport whoever's wearing the headset to the surface of Mars. An addition that's been made to the headset are these silver balls on stalks. The team's also built a Vicon motion tracking rig in the lab. The cameras in the rig monitor the position of those silvery orbs. Because of the mocap rig that there is on the top of this Oculus headset, I can actually walk around. I'm not stuck to one spot. Allowing me not just to see, but to walk on another planet.
We focus on current and future missions about how to operate and control robotics and spacecraft better. There's a lot of benefits in using these tools that are already in the public. The scientists and engineers that we give them to, they have these technologies at home and they're comfortable using them. Also, these companies have spent millions of dollars and hundreds and thousands of hours making sure these technologies already work well in the home, in the workplace, and in harsh environments.
The Ops Lab engineers are pretty adept at combining off-the-shelf kit with their own software. Here, the VR headset combines with an Xbox Kinect motion sensor and a camera. All of this kit is connected to a robot arm. The motion sensor reacts to my arm movements, and the robotic appendage copies them. The headset allows me to see the robot arm's movements as if it were attached to my own body. That's a pretty good feeling. I can manipulate a robot arm to pick up Lego. Hang on, let me see it with my real eyes. You're strangely disconnected from the real world with the Oculus goggles on. Equipment like this could be used for repairing spacecraft, with a robot exposed to the vacuum of space and an astronaut safe inside the ship effecting repairs via virtual reality.
Mark Chislak getting virtually hands-on with some very cool tech indeed.
The Jet Propulsion Lab isn't just concerned with research. The engineers and scientists based here are in control of 19 active spacecraft, including 3 rovers. And you yourself can get some idea of the scope of NASA's missions by visiting eyes.nasa.gov, which allows you to explore all of its satellites, probes and mission data, or you can simply take a joyride around the universe.
Time now to head from outer space to cyberspace. Does anyone actually still use that word? No, I didn't think so. Anyway, here's Kate Russell with Webscape.
The idea of space travel is always alluring, but how about building your own universe? Space Engine is an open source download that lets you do just that. 3D modelling all the elements in your star system using actual known planetary data and orbital trajectories. When you're done playing Planet Maker, you can just fly around the universe, visiting the many curious and wonderful sights of the galaxies, nebula, planets, moons, comets and asteroids. All the known celestial objects are included in the star maps, and when you travel out beyond the scope of human exploration, there is a procedurally generated spacescape to get lost in. As well as the creative side, there's a built-in wiki with descriptions and information about the celestial objects that exist in real space. So it's really a learning experience, but so much more fun when you can pretend you're a space pirate. It's not only on Earth we have weather fronts, but what effect does the weather from space have on us? Find the answer to this and other big questions with the help of NASA's excellent free iPad app, NASA Science: A Journey of Discovery.
I'm the urban spaceman, baby. I got speed.
Space can be a lonely place. So, why not make a date to give the astronauts aboard the International Space Station a wave as they go by? The ISS Detector app reveals when the ISS will pass over your terrestrial location, complete with weather reports, direction and altitude, so you have the best chance of spotting it with the naked eye. The app is free on iOS and Android and also lists good times to view flares from passing Iridium satellites, which is when sunlight is reflected directly down at Earth, lighting the sky with a bright flash for a few seconds. Ever wondered how many people are in space right now? Well, wonder no more on this simple website with an incredibly descriptive URL. Behind the number is data about the spacemen and women, and there's an iOS app too. We will never truly understand what's going on in deep space. At least, I don't expect to in my lifetime. But thanks to high-powered telescopes becoming more and more accessible to hobbyists and enthusiasts rather than just professional astronomers, we're certainly becoming a lot closer to the stars. For a small monthly subscription of £3, you can take control of a real telescope stationed in Tenerife at one of the best sites in the world for astronomy. So you're pretty much guaranteed some of the best seats available when it comes to exploring the universe. With Android app Cosmic Zoom, you don't even need a telescope. For a small download price, it lets you fly through the stars in distant galaxies, all the way down to elementary particle level in a human being.
Kate Russell's Webscape, the links are up at our site if you missed them, of course, bbc.co.uk/click. And if you'd like to get in touch about anything that you've seen here at JPL, please do. We're at BBC Click on Twitter. On the email, we're click@bbc.co.uk. That's it though from NASA. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.